YouTube land, what's up? It's your girl Makar. So listen, it's 9:17 in the morning. I'm about to wind down here. But I'm giving me a little me time, and then once I wind down, then I'm going to have some more me time. But I don't know, I kind of enjoy putting y'all in my me time. So I'm on this Quora, Quaro or something. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I had downloaded it because I told y'all they be having some good topics on here. So I had a good topic that was really panned out, and I had it on my screen. And then when I got ready to do a video, it disappeared. So this one that I'm reading about, I don't know if y'all know what Quora is. Like a forum where it's realistic more events versus like all this cosmetic stuff, like people that's really going through things, and they put their situation out there, and people are nicer over here. It's nothing like Facebook. It's like Facebook, when you put your real life out there and what's going on with you, people judge you because people are looking for a lot of likes and views, and they trying to say what they think people want to hear, or they just kind of just mean and kind of just built that way. But like on Quora, I like it because it's more realistic about people, that's more on my level, like that's in tune with their reality. So if y'all don't know nothing about Quora, go on here. It's real interesting. So this topic that I pulled is not the original that I wanted, but y'all, we playing until the ship goes down. But this one says, what do you do? Well, topic. What do you do when your spouse wants a divorce and you don't? So somebody commented, get one. You absolutely positivity, whatever, hands it to them on a silver platter with a note that says you're now free to search for what you feel you has been missing, as I am. I thank you for this opportunity to do right by myself. I like that. And find a path that is easier, happier, more fulfilling. See, the lady that gave her the comment, that sounds like a lady that loves herself. That sounds like a lady that values herself. So let's go more into the comments. It was 69 comments. Kay never spoke to her ex for many years after they divorced, but told me if he had died last year, she would thank him for divorcing her and leaving her free to find someone much better. See, this is what I like about this Quora, because the people that give comments, like, they know they value, and they can help other people see their value and their potential. It's a peaceful uh, place of tranquility for me on here. Well said, Fief. Might not be what's wanted, but is a marvelous opportunity to rethink, redesign your life. See, I'm all about redesigning my life. My then wife got the separation and I got the divorce, which I thought was fair. You're correct. It's marvelously liberating to have free guilt ability to have to do over. My wife asked for a divorce. She moved out saying she doesn't like the way I drive. No wrecks or tickets. I am 76. She is 62. I make over 6,000 and I own my own home. Everything I have I own. She is now getting a little less than 1,000. At least she is happy now. Yeah. I'm going into some more comments. Never force or beg anyone to stay in your life. I was forced and not begged to stay in her life. It did not work. I wrote all about it in my autobiography, Unlaced for Good. And he got a book called Unlaced for Good by Satish Arora, books on Google Play. That is why my ex and I are now friends. If it has to happen, let it happen immediately, so everyone spends less time stewing and ruining. When my wife told me she wanted a divorce, it was a crushing blow. Now years later, I realized that this was actually the most wonderful moment of my life was when I was released from the claw of her doom and gave me the opportunity to live a wonderful life, which was definitely not going to be in the cards due to my choice of partner at the time. The best revenge towards a nasty spouse is to live a wonderful life yourself while she or he goes on to do nothing. It doesn't even have to be your ex-spouse goes on to do nothing. The truth is, most times they go on to be happier too, and that's fine. People have to realize the painful truth that sometimes relationships ruin their course. It's not that that person even wants to hurt you, but the reality can be crushing, painful, and overbearing if not addressed. It's okay to move on and wish for the best for all parties involved. That's called peace plus emotional maturity. Let's see if we can find some more comments. I told you they had 69 up. Let me see. You ask the question, are you sure this is what you want? Because there will be no coming back. Thank you and goodbye. Yeah, a lot of people like to get divorces and come back up in there. That's because they can't find what they want. You got one time to divorce me, you ain't swinging back to, never mind. Wake up. If he wants a divorce, that means he doesn't see you exist in his life anymore. Why still live with a husband who doesn't love you anymore? Well, if you can accept in staying in the same house with him while he messes with another woman, then you have no right to force him not to see the other woman. If you love yourself, get a divorce and find someone who's worthy of your love. Get your ducks in a row financially. Sorry, unromantic, and I'm sorry. I don't know. I have a friend who was asked by his wife of 11 years for a divorce. He said okay, divided everything and left. No fighting, no fuss. 5 years later, all of us were at a restaurant having a great time. The ex walked in and saw us and wanted to join. My friend's new girlfriend was okay with that, but he said there isn't room at the table. She wasn't very happy with that, but we found out later, while my friend was loaded now, she wasn't doing so well. I guess you could say the grass wasn't so green on the other side. So the tables flipped. I guess he was the broke one and she was the breadwinner, or maybe she pestered him about not making too much and probably assassinated his character for not being where she thought he should be at the time or something. And later on, she bumped into him and saw he was the man now. And she wanted to mosey her way back over there. And he said, there isn't enough room at this table. I ain't mad at you playing a show. Can't come sit at mine. Everything has a beginning and an end, so let them go. Also, if you have proof that the spouse who wants a divorce has been cheating, take him or her to the cleaners. This is actually a thing outside of movies. I looked it up, and all results seem to indicate that this is largely a myth, and cheating itself doesn't affect divorce settlements. It can if the person who created cheating spend their joint money on an affair. But in general, cheating doesn't automatically mean the person who cheated has to pay money to settle a divorce. Well, the thing is, I haven't been married, but I know some about it because I watched my parents go through a divorce. And what was funny was, y'all, my mother told me this story. But I mean, I was around, but I wasn't around when this had happened. And so my father had wanted to divorce my mother, and she didn't want the divorce. And so finally he got the divorce and she gave it to him, and she was okay with them being the way they were because they didn't leave each other even though they were divorced, probably because he couldn't find nothing that he thought was better. Because he would try all the time, but he would always end up coming back. So they had that crazy whatever. And so they had got divorced, and they had been divorced over 20 something years. But all of a sudden, he decided that he wanted to go get married again. And so she was going to marry him again. And they went down to the Peace Hall or whatever to get the papers to get remarried again. And so they went down there and they told the clerk the papers that the remarriage and license papers that they wanted again or whatever, right? And my mom said they were standing in line, and she asked, "What could I help you with?" And they told her they wanted their remarrying papers again. My mom said that what woke her up was that woman, the clerk, walked off and went and got the papers and came back and looked her dead in her face and gave her a look like, "You finna marry this fool again?" And my mom caught what she was saying. And so my mom decided not to marry him again, which was good for her because she ended up, before she ended up leaving this earth, finally getting a chance to regain her independence back that she had before she met him. Because with all truth saying, that's where her life took a turn at when she met him. Cry a bit and then get a divorce. Why would you like to stay with someone that don't adore you? I'd rather be alone and trust life. Yeah, whoever I be with, my husband gonna have to adore me. Yeah, I like that. In my case, I was the one who wanted out and pushed for the divorce against her. Initial objections, but yet 30 years later, I see that she has moved on successfully and getting what she has always wanted, a nice family, living in the suburbs of the New Jersey. Well, I did also moving back to Boston and reconnected with my hometown while enjoying more of Bonnie Vidrant's single life, also to my fulfillment and happiness. So it was win-win for both of us. No harm, no foul, once the timeline of extended separation showed itself to be the right way to go for two people who, after marrying, wanted two different paths, impossible to reconcile except for separation and divorce, all for the best, as sometimes the divorcer is making the right decision for the divorce. Also, just take a while for both parties to actually see what's down the road, what could be down the road. While hard to accept for some, this is great advice. Believe it or not, something that the effect in the Bible thought some fundamental wackos would twist it around. I asked for a divorce after I found out my ex was still juggling multiple women. I still miss him on some level, but it's so much more rewarding being in a relationship with someone who actually wants to be in a relationship with you and be active and be participant. Right. I ain't finna have that type of husband to where every time he get up and put some clothes on, he don't say, "Baby, you want to come with me?" Or he telling me, "I'll be back" every time the door open. Now, I understand, that men have to have their space if they want to go hang out with their partners for a while, or, if they want to go do a hobby, fishing or karate or whatever, they gun range or whatever they gonna do. But tend to their garden, mess with their tools out in the shed or whatever they gonna do. But every time you open up that door, you never want me to go because you want to go off into the world to appear like you single. You never want to go. Or even when I open up the door, you never want to go nowhere with me. Like, what's the point of getting married if y'all don't go nowhere together? And I know a lot of couples like this, and it works for them, and they happy with it, and this is the way they like it, because they scared. They so scared that they're going to lose their individuality wrapped up in each other, that they marry and they happy at home, but then they don't like for the other one to trample on the other one's toes when they go out. Now, don't get me wrong, I am a hot girl. And I do enjoy my me time, and I do enjoy being out by myself, or maybe, spending a little time, with my best friend Maurice or something like that. Like, but for the most part, you don't have to be with me every time. I don't want you with me every time, but when I go out, there are some things we gonna do together. Well, yeah, well, that's what the lady said. I did that. I initially, wait a minute, I did that initially, but did spend a month trying to change his mind. Then later that year, his health and income collapsed, and he was enormously and grievously was put into a mental health unit. His mother flew in to get him help out. What the hell? Let me start this shit over. We're gonna start this shit off right. I did that initially, but spent a month trying to change his mind. Then later that year, his health, I guess this was after he wanted a divorce. Then later that year, his health and income collapsed and enormously and grievously was put into a mental health unit. His mother flew in, helped to get him out it, and then barred us from each other basically. When hearing we were getting back together, I don't know what type of writing this is. I'm happy to be over him, but have regrets that he felt that he needed to take a break out in the first place. Don't bother coming back at me with the knee-jerk reactions. Separation should be a warning flag that meditators are needed to avoid a divorce amongst reasonable partners. I got lost in that because the way that was written. Divorce has to be one tough thing to go through. I just go along with the divorce. He or she cannot stop it. Let's see if anything else is in here. I just found out my fiance is married. Of course, I confronted him, but he said he was trying to get a divorce. He filed the divorce in Maryland, but she won't respond. Is it the truth or is he lying? Was he or his wife dragging this out? They both hate each other, so why isn't it done? Well, somebody could be holding on to somebody so they can make sure they get something out of it financially. Yep, you'll regret trying to ask for something when that person has already made up their mind. Why would you marry someone who doesn't love you anymore? Just waiting time. Just wasting time. You need to learn how to love yourself. Well, the first thing one must do is understand why you don't. And it's because you don't want to be alone. This is why you don't want the divorce. Or maybe you need a provider. Or maybe because you don't want to look like a failure. If these things are the reason, then it's caused the divorce to begin with. Yeah, divorce used to hang with the idea of togetherness, but not anymore. Maybe both can find their own happiness elsewhere in others. Exit so that someone new can come in. All right, y'all. You fight for your marriage. Single people keep others single. All right. Well, that's that. I'll be back. Maybe I'll find something else. Yeah. Because it was a topic that I was looking for earlier that I really liked that I was finna do. So I'll swiggle through here and see if I can find something else. Divorce. Mwah.